Hey there, and welcome to the Event Crushed podcast. Each week, we'll be chatting about all things wedding industry, entrepreneurship, and how to crush it in life and business. I'm so glad you're here. Now, let's dive into this week's episode. Hello, and welcome back to the Event Crushed podcast. I am your host, Becky Hart, and before we jump into today's show, I just wanted to say thank you to everyone who has reached out and been so supportive since I officially launched the podcast, because the first 3 episodes were already up. And so this is the first episode that I have recorded since it's been live and out there in the world. So I just wanted to say thank you to everyone for the messages and encouragement and kind words. It just really means the world to me. And I just wanted to express my gratitude for that. So what I'm going to be sharing with you today is all about the systems and tools that I use regularly in my business, like things I use either every single day or at the very least every week. And there's a lot of amazing tools out there for wedding pros. And I just wanted to share what I personally use. I just thought this would be a really practical episode where you can listen in and take notes if you would like. And then you can go check out all of these tools and programs for yourself and see if there's a way that you can utilize them in your own business. So that is the plan for today. And I am in the process of scheduling out guest interviews. So I have a few scheduled so far. They're kind of a little later, later May, later June. So they will be coming, but it is going to take some time to just get those scheduled and recorded. So in the meantime, I will be doing some solo episodes. And if you have anyone in mind that you would like to hear on the podcast, or if you yourself are interested in being a guest on the podcast, definitely shoot me a message. You can email me at becky@eventcrush.com, or you can shoot me a DM on Instagram at eventcrush. So would love any ideas that you guys have. Please do not hesitate to reach out or share any topic ideas, anything at all. I'm super, super open. Okay, so let's jump into some of the tools that I use on a regular basis in my business. There's obviously so many amazing tools out there, and I've tried many of them. So I'm going to share what I'm currently using. I might share a little bit about some things I've used in the past as well, but overall, these will be things like I'm actively using in my business. So the first one that I wanted to share, it's called SuiteDash. So it's SUITE dash. And this program is really incredible because it does so much. And it's called, I think they call it Extreme White Label, which means there's no branding. Everything is branded to your business. So when my clients see it and interact with it, all they see is Event Crush and my business colors and my branding and my logo. There's nothing that's branded to SuiteDash, which I think is really cool. So I use this program for sending proposals, sending invoices, so getting paid. I use it for sending contracts, getting digital signatures. I also use it for scheduling client meetings and client consults. And I also use it for contact forms. So I have a website contact form set up through SuiteDash that automatically emails me anytime anyone, fills that out. And then in the same way, I have a separate form that anyone can use to schedule a meeting with me, and then it will automatically connect to my Google Calendar. So those are the main things I use it for. However, there are so many other tools and resources that SuiteDash offers that I'm not even taking advantage of yet. And I was actually originally introduced to SuiteDash through my husband, Andrew, who was on episode number 2. And he uses it for his bookkeeping business. So I had heard of it. I was, relatively familiar with it, but I already had a system for invoices, contracts, proposals. Like I kind of had that in lock. I'd been using the same program for 9 years. series of events happened, and I decided that I was going to switch from that company that I had been with for so long. And so at that point, I was like, okay, well, I need to find something for all of this because my other program was really all in one. And now I'm kind of having to like piece together things. So that's when Andrew brought back up Sweet Dash. And I was like, oh yeah, they do that. So that's when I started using it. It was really at the end of 2023. So I haven't honestly been using it for that long. But all of that to say, there are so many more capabilities that I could be and should be taking advantage of, but I just haven't had the time to dive into it yet. But there's tons of automations. They can do task management. It does email marketing, which I have another program that I use for email marketing, which I'll share about later on. I also have my own task management tool. So that's kind of why I'm not utilizing those things at the moment, but it does so much. And so I would highly recommend looking into it. If you are needing something for kind of that front end of your business of getting clients booked and onboarded, I would definitely check it out. I was able to pay a one-time, like a lifetime fee. So I do not pay for this monthly, which in my opinion, if you can find programs that you can get in early and pay a lifetime fee, that is incredible. In any wedding industry, whether it's planning or photography or catering, what have you, all the different programs that you can have to make your life better, to make your life easier, they can really add up. And so the programs that I have been able to either get a lifetime subscription or even just paying for it yearly, so it decreases the total. Usually they'll discount it, right? If you pay for it yearly, I like to do that when I can because it just cuts down on my monthly expenses. So anyways, definitely check out Sweet Dash. It's comparable to things like Honeybook or Dubsado, other programs where you're sending contracts and invoices. It does all of the same stuff, plus a lot more. And it's one that I like to talk about it because I don't know anyone else in the wedding industry that's using it, quite frankly. And since the wedding industry is so like aesthetically, like the aesthetics are so important in our industry, I think that it is so ideal for that because you can completely brand it to your colors, your fonts. The proposals can be really beautiful. Everything is so customizable, which I personally haven't seen in some of the other programs. Even if you can have your logo on it and have your branding, it still says the name of the company in the footer or in the URL. With Sweet Dash, my client portal is portal.eventcrush.com. So nobody knows that it's Sweet Dash other than y'all, because I'm telling you. But my clients would have no idea what the actual company is called. So I just think that's so cool. So that's the first one that I wanted to share with you. There's also, you can have a client dashboard. You can have a place where clients can go in and upload files, upload questionnaires, all of that kind of thing. So yeah, that's one I highly, highly recommend because it can be very affordable. They do sales throughout the year. So I would just wait until they do their next big sale and then you can get it. If they're still doing the lifetime situation, then snag that. And even if you don't set it up and use it right away, you'll just have it sitting in your back pocket for the time when you do. Maybe after wedding season, you can dive in and get it all set up. It did take me some time to get it all branded and nice looking and all of that. It definitely is a time investment, but now that it's all set up, it is so worthwhile and makes my life so much easier. So, okay. Oh, I did want to add too, I mentioned that I use it for scheduling but just in general, having a program to book client meetings and potential client consults with is such a game changer. And I just cannot recommend it enough. As a wedding planner, it kind of puts me off a little bit when other wedding pros don't have this option, especially when I'm trying to schedule something with me and my clients and we're going back and forth. Okay, can we do this day at this time? No. Okay, what about this day at this time? And it's the emails and the going back and forth. And it feels just messy to me. But when a vendor sends me a link and says, hey, yeah, go ahead and schedule on my calendar, then it's just me and my clients that need to align our schedules, which is pretty easy usually. And then I just click it, schedule it, bam, done. So I started using Calendly, which is one that I definitely do recommend. Back in, I think it was 2018, I went to a conference. It was like the first big, it wasn't just wedding professionals, it was creatives as a whole, but it was like the first big conference that I ever went to. And it was called Creative at Heart, and it was in North Carolina, and it was put on by a wedding planner, Kat, that I just like adored. And I had been following her business forever, and I finally got to go. It was such a dream. But anyways, someone at that conference recommended Calendly, and I hadn't heard of it before. I was just doing the thing where you just email back and forth and you figure out, you eventually find a time. But I went home from that conference and immediately got it. It was like $10 a month, and it just was like the best money I could spend because it cut down on my emails so much, because I could just be like, bam, here's a link, choose a time that works for you. And it just comes across as so much more professional. So whether it's Calendly or SweetDash, I also used .cal at one point. However, I believe that they went out of business. But there's lots of options. There's Acuity, scheduling, but I do recommend just finding some scheduler tool and connecting it to your Google Calendar. So then whenever anyone goes in and they book it, it just automatically shows up on your calendar. And if you have it integrated with Zoom, like I do, then it'll automatically email them the Zoom link. And it cuts down on emails and that back and forth communication that nobody really enjoys. Let's be real. Okay, so the next program that I wanted to share is one that I've been using for a while, but only recently have really tapped into how amazing it can be, and that is Asana. Asana is like a great project management, task management tool. I currently just have the free version, so I don't have the paid one at the moment. I might upgrade someday, but for my purposes right now, it's working for me pretty well. And I have different projects in there. And so I was using it a lot when I was training my associate coordinator. I created a whole project in there, and I had all these different categories and all of the kind of training tools. I uploaded everything into there, and that was the place, kind of the hub for training. So I used it a lot during that time back in 2022, I believe. And then I use it with my VA for blogging and just keeping track of blog posts, and we can write comments back to each other and everything. And I was using it for the rentals as well, because Darcy, my VA, was at the time managing all of the rental wish lists. And so she had kind of some task items in there for her to do. But once I sold the rentals, I was like, okay, well, I kind of just fell out of using Asana. And then I came back to it one day, I think because of Darcy. She left me a comment in there, and I was like, oh yeah, Asana. So I logged in, and I realized that I had just not been utilizing it to its full potential. And so I honestly, over time, I've been moving away from paper things. So a few years ago, I don't know exactly when it was, but I had a paper planner forever. I was a big time paper planner girl. And I had tried all the different ones, and I had, my favorites. And I loved the Emily Lay one. That was my favorite one that I ended up for the last few years that I had one. But me and my husband also had our Google Calendar synced. There were a couple times where I would put it in my paper planner, not put it in Google Calendar, and it caused problems. So I was like, okay, I can't keep doing this. There's no reason for me to have two calendars. I'm just going to go completely digital. I got rid of the paper planner and just went to strictly Google Calendar. And that's been amazing. I would never go back. Having everything on your phone and on your computer, everything is synced. It's synced with Andrew's schedule. It's the best. So in the same kind of way, even though I'd gotten rid of my paper planner, I still had this notepad sitting right here on my desk. And every day I would write down my tasks for the day, my to-dos, and then I would cross it off when it was done. And I just found a lot of satisfaction in that. I really enjoy crossing things off a physical list. I think probably a lot of us planners do. And so I enjoyed having my little notepad on my desk and just doing my to-dos that way. However, it started just feeling really chaotic and disorganized. And you know how it goes. Like you don't get everything done in the day that you had wanted to. So then you're moving those items onto the next day's to-do list, and it just felt messy and disorganized. So finally, within the last month, really, I added everything into Asana, and I no longer have my notepad here. I just have everything in Asana, and I can assign tasks to people. So most of them are me, but I do assign things to Darcy, and then I assign things to Callie for her end of weddings. And I can also assign things to Andrew, like for, related to this podcast, and whoever else on my team that I need to. I can assign tasks to them, and then I can get the big picture of the week. I can set deadlines for everything. I think that's the biggest part of it that I love, is setting the deadlines, because before it was like everything's on my list, but there's just kind of an arbitrary deadline, and I didn't have it. I wasn't writing down a deadline for every single thing. I was just like, these are the things I need to get done. So being able to visually see everything in order, what's due first, what's due next, what's coming up next week, and categorizing everything out. Is it client work? Is it back-end business stuff? Is it marketing and social media? I have all these different categories and projects in there that I can break it out into. And so it doesn't feel as overwhelming that way. I can just visualize it all. And it's amazing. So that's what I recommend for task management, project management. I haven't tried a ton of other things. I have dabbled with like Trello and a couple of the other ones, but overall, to me, Asana is wonderful. And some people use it for like their whole planning workflow as well. I'm not doing that at the moment, maybe someday, but I have other methods for that currently. Anyways, that's number 2. I'm realizing I'm either going to need to really pick it up here or maybe break this into 2 episodes or something based on how much time I've been talking already. Okay, the next one will probably be pretty quick because I think everyone is familiar with Canva. I probably use Canva honestly daily. I use it so much for not just professional business related things, but I use it a ton in my personal life as well. It's $12.95 a month, I believe. It is like the easiest, like best money I spend every month because the value is just like bonkers. You get so much out of it. I wanted to share with you like some of the things that I use it for, just in case you think you don't need it or you have maybe other ways. It just, especially now because they have the printing, you can design it on Canva and then send it to have it printed. And it's very affordable. The shipping is super fast. I've ordered several things now from Canva printing and have been so pleased and happy every time. So just that alone, like the fact that they can do all of that in one, because you used to have to download it and then go upload it into wherever and then have it printed. But it just cuts down on your time, and it's just amazing. So I use Canva all the time. I make graphics for my Instagram page that have like wedding advice. I create graphics for my networking group to share on social media, talking about the next, event that's coming up. I create my vision boards on Canva for my full planning clients, my design clients. I created a new logo for my networking group, Engaging Eugene, on there. I also created the logo for my Cotton Candy Cart, Sugar Crush, on there. I made brochures for the wedding showcase that I put on last month. I made new business cards and had them, both of these things I had printed on there as well. I created the podcast cover for this show on Canva. I did our family's Christmas cards on Canva. I did the flyers for the wedding show I mentioned, and I had them printed as well through Canva. I did my daughter's birthday party invitations and signage and thank you tags all through Canva. I do Instagram story graphics on there. When I had the rental company, because the Canva has the background remover tool, which is my favorite tool ever. And so for rental items, if I didn't have a good photo of it, I could upload a photo of one of our items and then I could remove the background. And then I could use that as like the main image on our website. So that like background tool or background remover tool alone is worth the $13. I've created service guides for our clients and brochures, all kinds of things. So the possibilities are endless. There's so many templates on there. You can do a ton on there for free. I mean, let's be real. Like, you don't have to get the paid one, but when you get the paid one, it opens up all the graphics there, because a lot of them you only have access to if you pay. Anyways, I just use it so often that I can't even imagine my life without Canva. So that's definitely one that I highly recommend. And you cannot beat the price point. At this point, I'm like, why would you not have it? So that's Canva. We all know it. We all love it. The next one, which I'm sure most everyone probably has as well, but it's something I use every single day. So I figured I should probably mention it. And that is Google Workspace, which was formerly called G Suite, but they've changed the name to Workspace. And so that includes, my Gmail, my @eventcrush.com emails, Google Docs, Google Drive, Google Sheets, Google Calendar, which runs my entire life, all of that good stuff. Oh, I forgot to mention earlier, but I do have some affiliate links for several of these tools and software. So I will include all of that in the description. And eventually I will have show notes. I'm working on getting those up and running right now. And so you'll be able to check the show notes for that kind of thing in the future. But for this one, at least, at the very least, the description for the podcast should have some of these links in there. But I have a 10% off your first year of Google Workspace that I can share with you all. Let's see. I think, that's the only one so far, but I have more coming. There's a ton of things on this list. I don't think I ever said how many. I don't think I even know how many. There's a lot. So that's why I'm wondering if I'm going to need to break this into a two-parter. But we'll see. We'll keep going. We'll see how it goes. Next up is Dropbox. I'm sure a lot of us are familiar with Dropbox. It's a paid plan, but it's basic. It's also maybe around $12 a month. But this is where I store all of my wedding photos. And Darcy, my VA, I know she comes up a lot. She must be really good. She has organized all of my wedding photos in there into years. So I can click on a year and then I can find the wedding with the photographer's name just right in there. And I use it all the time because I'm constantly, looking for photos to share on social media or photos to update my website with or to add to a blog or what have you. So having all of your photos organized and saved in one place is essential, in my opinion. And I know there's a lot of great tools for that, but Dropbox is just what I personally use and have used for many, many years. The other thing I love about it is that I have it connected to my phone, so it backs up my phone photos constantly. And that way I can delete those photos knowing that they're saved in the cloud. And that frees up my phone storage, because I used to be someone who, I still am someone who takes a ton of pictures, but I used to be someone who my phone was always like full. And then anytime I wanted to take more pictures, I was like, I have to delete these, and just kind of a hot mess. So this way they get automatically uploaded and I don't have to worry about it. I know that they're safe, and then it gives me peace of mind, and then I can just delete them when I'm ready to and just always have plenty of storage on my phone. So that's the other thing I love about Dropbox, just for my own personal use. Okay, the next one that I use very often, maybe not daily, but for sure weekly, probably multiple times, most weeks, is Zoom. And I pay annually for it, because I think for the free one, you get cut off after like 45 minutes. And that's just not going to fly for me, because most of my client meetings are around an hour, but I use it all the time. Most of my clients are not local, and they do live in other parts of the country or the state or the world. And so we're always Zoom meeting virtually. So it's essential for me. I can't imagine what I would do without it. I know that there's Google Meet and there's some other ones too, but I think Zoom is better because you can save the recordings to refer back to, and it links directly to my scheduling tool. Like I mentioned earlier, when somebody books a meeting with me, it will automatically send them the link to the Zoom call. So they'll have that and it'll be ready. I can't imagine, going back to what I did years prior. It's just, efficient and streamlined. And that's what I am all about. So Zoom is the one that I use all the time. And I'm guessing, especially since the pandemic, a lot of us are meeting clients virtually, and it's really great. Honestly, I love being able to do that. And I think our clients love being able to do that. So having some kind of program to meet with clients virtually, I think is essential. I do have a link too for that I will throw into the description. Let's see. Okay, another one. This will be a quick one. It's called Benable, Benable. And I use this for sharing my preferred vendors with my clients. So it's basically a way to create an aesthetically pleasing list of either services or items or vendors in my situation. And it just looks really nice. It provides photos and links and social media and everything for all the vendors. And I categorize them all out. So I have different sections, for photography, florists, bakeries, all of that. And it's just a really nice way to send it to my clients. It's just so much better than the old school spreadsheet that I did years ago. And then after that, it was like a document in my planning portal. And I just think this is so much nicer. And also you can create individualized lists for all of your clients. And then you can pull from your main list, which is super nice. And you can use it for other things too. I think it was created as a way to kind of utilize affiliate marketing. You can be like, these are my favorite clothing items on Amazon. And you can use, your affiliate links for all of that. And they have partnerships with a ton of different companies. So I think a lot of people utilize it in that way, but there's definitely a lot of ways that you can utilize it. Well, another thing that I do with it is I have like my favorite local, it's kind of more like local stuff for me. I have like favorite local restaurants, favorite local coffee shops, favorite local dessert spots, things like that. So it's fun to look for your city and see what people are posting. If anything, just get on it and check it out. And it is invite only. So I do have a link I'll share in the description that will give you the opportunity to make an account and check it out because it is pretty fun. Okay, this next one I utilized a ton when I had my rental company, and now that I don't have it, I'm not utilizing it as much anymore. So I had a paid annual plan and I just downgraded back to the free option, but it's called Homebase. And this is for basically if you have a team, you'll use it to schedule shifts and basically do time tracking for employees, communicate with employees, all of that kind of stuff. So when we had delivery drivers and delivery crew and my associate coordinators and assigning assistants for wedding days, I use it for that, just like assigning shifts for work. And then also communicating with my employees via the app is really nice rather than like texting, it's all in one place. So it does have a free option, like I mentioned. And if you have a team, it can be very, very helpful. So I definitely recommend checking that out if you have a team or are looking to grow a team. A couple ones I will just briefly touch on because we did talk about these in episode 2 when I had Andrew on. And the first one is QuickBooks Online, which I know Andrew talked about a good deal. And so hopefully you listened to that one and you know how important having great accounting software is. But I do have a link to save 50% on your first 6 months of QuickBooks Online, which is a pretty sweet deal. So I will share that. And then the other one is YNAB, or You Need a Budget, which we use constantly to keep track of our personal and business finances and to budget ahead. So I can save money for things that I know are coming up. And it just helps me, from being hit with like these huge expenses out of the blue, you know it's coming. And so you put $50 towards it every month, or you put $100 towards it every month. And then when it comes around, you're not stressing out because all that money has already been saved in this little digital envelope, basically. So we love YNAB, and I have a link for a free month for YNAB if anyone wants to check that out. And you can also, I believe they have just a free trial option as well. At least they used to. I'm assuming they still do. Okay. We're getting there. I think I can do this. We're at 31 minutes, so I'm just going to keep trucking. The next one is what I use for email marketing, and I personally use just the free version of this at the moment, but they do have paid options. I use MailChimp. And so right now I'm just sending a monthly newsletter. I just utilize this to create my newsletter, to store my, email list in, and to customize and edit and just create my newsletter every month. So it has a lot of great capabilities. I was able to upload a template that I believe I bought it on Etsy, and I uploaded it into MailChimp, and I love how it looks because I just wasn't a fan of like the pre-built templates that they had. I'm sure hopefully we'll talk more about email marketing another time. I am not an email marketing expert by any means, but I could certainly have someone on. I know my business coach, Candace, knows a ton about email marketing, and she could share a lot with us. So maybe I will have her on someday. But yeah, it is. I do know how important it is to get people off of just social media, getting their email addresses, getting them to your website, getting them on your list so you can show up in their inbox every month. And I for sure know the value in that. I just am not someone who has personally spent a ton of time growing a huge list. I have just, pretty small list at this point, but would love to continue to grow it over time. Okay, so that's the end of my general list of tools that I think would be beneficial for most types of wedding pros. These last three that I am going to share about are more specific to wedding planners. So if you're not a wedding planner, you might not care about these as much, and that's okay. I saved them for the end so that you would get all of the more applicable ones in the beginning. But the three that I want to share, the first one is Timeline Genius. I had done a trial for Timeline Genius many, many years ago. Well, I had another program at the time, and I just remember thinking like it's cool, but I don't really need it. Like I already have a timeline program. It's fine. And so I mentioned that I had another program that I used. I kind of said that in the beginning as well. And then I ended up moving away from that. So I was in a position where I needed a timeline tool. And so, of course, I have, many industry friends who use Timeline Genius. And so I was like, okay, fine, I'll do another trial and see. And I was just blown away with all the updates they've done over the last several years since I had tried it last. It was like a whole different situation. And I just was hooked immediately. It is so fantastic. And I think I've always had really good timelines. Like I've had many vendors tell me that they love my timelines, that they're just super simple, easy to read, great, detailed, all of that. But now I feel like Timeline Genius has taken them up a notch to like just excellent timelines. And so I'm really excited to be able to offer that to my vendors and to my clients. And like I said, I'm just hooked. I can't imagine going back. They do have a free trial. So if you are in need of a timeline software, I highly, highly recommend giving it a try. If anything, you have nothing to lose. Just check it out. It's worth the money. It is just, in my opinion, like will level you up so much. Because it's like if you have a crappy timeline, I'm sorry, but like people aren't going to take you seriously. That is such an essential part of what we do as planners, and having a really fabulous timeline is one of the best ways to show that you mean business and for people to take you seriously. So anyways, that's my timeline spiel. The next one is called Prism, formerly Allseated. So you've probably heard of Allseated. And I had used it in years past as well, kind of here and there, especially when I knew that like a venue had their layout on Allseated. I might go in there and utilize it. But they've really done a lot of updating. They're offering 3D renderings, and you can, I just did this for the first time, where you can send them a layout that isn't in their system, and they'll upload it in for you and have all the exact dimensions and everything, which I'm stoked about. I love that feature and being able to do that. So I'm really enjoying it so far. I've only been using it for a couple of months. I was trying another program, didn't love it. And like I said, my former program also had layouts, and so I was in a position of needing something else. So, but yeah, Prism has been great for me. You can do up to 10, I believe, up to 10 weddings for free, and then after that, then they have a monthly plan or maybe an annual plan as well. So, especially if you're only needing like up to 10, then I would highly recommend it. I'm still working on getting all of mine added in, so I haven't gotten to the paid point yet, but I will have to do that pretty soon. So, definitely recommend checking out Prism if you are in need of layouts. Obviously, venues, that would be a wonderful program for you to utilize as well. And then lastly, this one is what I switched over to, basically the planning platform that I switched over to. So I had Aisle Planner for about 9 years and I really did love them. I just ultimately made the decision to switch, which was very bittersweet because, like I said, Aisle Planner had everything. They did contracts, invoices, proposals, timelines, layouts, checklists, budget. I mean, really, it's all in one, which is what I loved about it. But since moving away, I've had to kind of piece together some things. And overall, I'm very happy with what I have now. Like I mentioned, I love Timeline Genius. I'm really enjoying Prism. Part of the reason I made the switch is because of Amber Anderson and the Refine group. If you are a wedding planner and you're not familiar with Amber or the Refine for Wedding Planners, I definitely recommend you head to Facebook and join the Refine for Wedding Planners Facebook group. There's tons of amazing planners in there. It's such a great community of support. And yeah, Amber, who runs it, is awesome. And she has a podcast too. And I believe it's called the Wedding Planning Process Kit. I bought that many years ago at Wedding MBA. I think it was like 2018. I saw her speak and she talked about her wedding planning process kit. And I was like, whoa, that sounds awesome. I need that. So I got it right away. And it was super instrumental in just kind of getting better systems and processes set up in my business. So anyways, she then later, years later, came out with the Refine Portal, which is basically it's a Google Drive based planning platform for wedding planners. And it's beautiful. It's super customizable. And one of the best parts about it, in my opinion, is that it is just a one-time fee. So you just pay for the program and the instructions, and they give you everything you need to get it all set up. And there is no, monthly fee, which I think is really great. And yes, you do need to add in some other tools as well. But overall, it's a beautiful way to have my clients just have all of their information in one place. They basically have their own private website that has everything, all the documents for planning. It links to their timeline. It links to their layout. I have it all in one place as well. So really like it. It's got the guest tracker, the budget tracker, all the questionnaires and everything. It is still relatively new to me as I did switch at the end of 2023. So, and it like Sweet Dash, it took time to get everything set up and switched over, but it was well worth it. And, yeah, I am definitely, if you haven't already, definitely check out the Refine for Wedding Planners group on Facebook. And Amber also has the Refine Collective, which is a very affordable paid kind of membership for wedding planners as well, where she puts out even more education and encouragement and all of that good stuff. So it's a really great resource for wedding planners. So that concludes my list. Hopefully you heard of something new here. And even if you've heard of all these programs, maybe it will just be a good encouragement and reminder for you to check some of them out if you haven't had a chance to try them. And I think it's good to always kind of be looking into your systems and seeing, is this still working for me? If it's not working for me, what can I do to make it better and to make it more efficient and to make it run smoother for myself and my clients? So it's always good to just kind of do a check-in on those things. But yeah, that's what I use for my business. And, there's other apps and things. I didn't share every single thing, but those are kind of the main ones that I'm using at the very least every week. And a lot of them, it's every single day. So if you have other systems that you love to use, like I know some people love HoneyBook, some people love Dubsado, 17 Hats. I'd love to hear what you use. So feel free to shoot me a message, leave a comment, let me know what you use in your business and what works really well for you. And yeah, we'll be back here again next week with another episode. Like I said, it's probably going to be another solo one with me. So, anyways, thanks for listening today and have a wonderful week. And we'll see you back here next week.